This is about authentic, intentional, generous physical expression that helps people stay engaged. It's about meeting your audience with energy, not to trick them, but to help them follow along. Because here's the truth: if you look boring, they will feel bored. Welcome to the Foster Your Voice podcast with me, Christy Foster. After a 30-year career in music and theater, I never imagined I'd be coaching trial attorneys. But once I entered your world, I quickly realized how critical and underutilized voice is in the courtroom. The truth is, you don't win trials with brute strength. You win with your voice. I'll give you tools to unlock your voice so you can communicate not just with purpose, but on purpose. If you want quick action tips to help you stay calm and in control, keep jurors engaged, and inspire your listeners to action, all through the power of your voice, you're in the right place. I'm Christy Foster, and I'm here to help you foster your voice. Hello, Foster fam. Welcome to another episode of the Foster Your Voice podcast. I'm, of course, your host, Christy Foster. I want to again invite you to just take a moment to leave a star rating and or a review. Tell folks what you're learning. Not only does it help solidify your takeaways by being able to reframe concepts into your own words, but it really goes a long way in helping other folks find my podcast. I have not traditionally been a leave a review kind of gal, in full disclosure, but I am doing it more now that I understand the impact of it, especially for small businesses like mine. It only takes a few seconds, so pause, go do it right now before you forget. Now, today we're going to talk about intentional gestures and how powerful they are for affecting your vocal performance and juror engagement and retention. But before we dive in, I like to just share little nuggets or anecdotes or musings. And today I'm pretty excited to pass on this comparative study, we'll call it. Now, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you've heard me say that I'm a huge cycling fan. I watch cycling year round, but I rearrange my schedule for the month of July when the Tour de France is on. And it just started this weekend. I get seriously giddy about, about this race. It's a little bit silly, but people have asked me for years, why is it so appealing to me? I mean, I am not a cyclist myself. I don't even own a bike. But this year, the more I thought about the intricacies of the race and all the dynamics that just make it thrilling for me to watch, I actually could see a lot of similarities to civil litigation. So, litigation and the Tour de France are both long haul, high stakes, mentally grueling team competitions that demand endurance, strategy, and adaptability. So, welcome to our Tour de France series. Here's just a couple of parallels that you can use or expand on, and then we'll get to intentional gestures. Okay, so first of all, it's a sport of attrition. For the Tour de France, it's not about who's fastest on day one. It's just when the timer starts. But it's a 3-week race for the general classification. Finding the Tour winner is about who can endure 21 days of crashes and mountains, extreme weather shifts, roadside crowds pressing in, and pressure from all sides. Now, as a litigator, it's not always the flashiest argument that wins. It's the team that has staying power. You know the stall tactics of the defense, and you know the tedium of just legal red tape. It's the team that can withstand the delays, motions, depositions, and emotional toll that carries through to a verdict. That's who usually wins. Now, second, road cycling is a team sport with an individual leader. Lots of folks don't realize it because the general population often only hears about the overall winner at the end of the 3 weeks. But it is, in fact, a team sport. Now, for the tour, there are 8 riders per team, in addition to the 2 team cars with all the directors and mechanics driving along, following the group. Now, in the Tour de France and all grand tours, those are the 3 weekers, the team supports one designated leader. That leader is the GC contender, meaning they are the ones competing for the general classification. The rest of the team rides to help them by blocking the wind, setting the pace, or fetching water, all to get the leader on the podium at the end of it all. Now, in the trial world, while one trial attorney may stand in front of the jury and are credited with the winning verdict, paralegals, associates, jury consultants, clients, both expert and lay witnesses, vocal coaches, all play essential supporting roles. And the verdict has one name on it, but it's a team win or loss. Now, I'm absolutely beside myself that we're into the 2025 tour. It's the 112th edition. 112. Next week, I'll have a couple more comparisons to share in hopes that you just see your profession through a different lens, maybe celebrate it from a new perspective. Vive la tour! You know what I hate? Being misunderstood. It's actually one of my biggest fears, if I'm honest, right up there with birds. Yes, I'm afraid of birds. Leave me alone about it already. Being misunderstood is just the worst, though. Trying to communicate something and seeing that it's just not landing the way you intend. Too harsh of tone with your kid or spouse that ended up setting them off. A thinking face that got interpreted as annoyance or irritation and ended up shutting down the conversation and leaving you baffled. It's so frustrating in our personal lives, but in the courtroom, your mismatched communication profile could break your case and lose you a deserving verdict. So, I've created a free guide to get you thinking about the emotional profiles you create. It's a printable guide to help you 10x your communication impact by mastering 6 emotional profiles for clear and authentic connection. I break down the 6 core emotions: happy, sad, love, pride, anger, and fear by giving you face, body, and breathing cues. Plus, I show you exactly which point on a 1 to 10 scale you should be with your pitch, pace, melody, volume, and tone in order to authentically capture the center of that core emotion. The link to get your free guide is in the show notes or by simply going to my website, fostervoicestudio.com. Don't wait to clear up your part of miscommunication and misunderstandings. Get your free download today. I talk with my hands. Are you a hands talker too? What I mean is, my hands are naturally active when I'm speaking. They help me animate ideas, show shapes or movements, and add physical structure to what I'm saying. It's like my hands are helping my audience see what I'm trying to say, not just hear it. But here's the thing. Just like your voice, your gestures can be trained, refined, and intentionally used to help the jury stay with you and take in your message. And that's what we're diving into today. Now, back in college, I was a vocal performance major, and I remember very clearly having to learn how to be still on stage, just stand and sing. And that was hard for me. I wanted to move, I wanted to gesture. Now, my voice teacher gave me weighted bags to hold during practice. Just let them hang, just stand still, Learn to feel grounded in stillness without fidgeting. And I did. I'm now perfectly comfortable with stillness when I need it. But stillness is not my default. My default is energy. My default is animation. And used well, that's not a distraction. It's a really beneficial communication device. Your hands guide jurors to listen. Now, let's pause on that word guide because that's what I believe your hands are doing in the courtroom. They're guiding the jurors' attention, giving visual support to the auditory cues you're already delivering with your voice. Your gestures back you up. They don't compete with what you're saying, they reinforce it. They show your jurors visually where to land, what to remember, what matters. There's a communication coach named Vin Zhang who says, our body moves our voice and our voice moves our body. They're interconnected. And he's right. Your gestures don't exist in a vacuum. They're connected to your breath, your tone, and your intention. Now, as always, I just want to be really clear here. This is not about performing. And it's definitely not about manipulating. There are communication coaches out there who teach mirroring, like literally copying jurors' posture or gestures in a way to make them feel more connected to you subconsciously. I don't teach that. Honestly, it grosses me out. This isn't about mimicry. This is about authentic, intentional, generous physical expression that helps people stay engaged. It's about meeting your audience with energy, not to trick them, but to help them follow along. Because here's the truth, if you look boring, they will feel bored. If you use your body language to bring clarity, they'll stay with you. Now, let me give you a few intentional gestures you can start using right away. There's a family psychologist named Virginia Satir, whose Satir categories have been adapted by communication folks worldwide. I'll share two of her suggested positions today. One of the gestures she called the leveler gesture. Your hands away from your body, palms down. It communicates certainty, groundedness, authority. It's leveling out. This is a great one to use when you're stating a rule or delivering a conclusion. You're not pushing, just settling the idea into the room. It's authoritative and establishes you as an expert. Now, the opposite of that is the placater gesture, also from Satir. This is more open, more invitational, palms up, closer to your body, perhaps held midair. It conveys kindness, openness, an invitation to consider. It works well when you're introducing vulnerability, sharing emotion, or appealing to a shared values, or when you're welcoming their ideas into the space. Now, I like to mark words. You see me do this all the time. Mark words or key concepts, proper names, company names, names of the parties in the case, anything that you need the jury to remember. I use marking. Using this marking gesture assigns what you're saying to space. It puts it there. It parks it and visually highlights it for the jurors. Now, most often, when you mark something, you also vocally emphasize it. Again, the voice and the body working together to make your message more memorable for your listeners. And this idea of assigning space to a thing, whether it's an object, a person, or a place, is so powerful that if you change up your coding, you'll confuse everyone. For instance, if you say a little town over here, then later it's up here, this little town, you've completely confused everyone with their mapping of this space. Contrasting ideas, get a hand assignment and have them stay there. Now, generally, people will eventually track. It's not like you're going to have a total cognitive collapse on your hands, but for those few seconds, you make the jury have to problem solve and sort it out. And what they're not doing while they're mentally problem solving, they're not listening to you. So they're missing out on all the new information, and then they'll have to play catch up and try to figure out what you're talking about, maybe with context clues or by hearing it from someone else later. You're undermining your own authority and you're overtaxing your jurors who are already battling cognitive load issues. Now, I suppose it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway, that all of your gestures should be roughly between belt line and eye line. Lower than that, and one, they can't see them well. Two, they become throwaway or lose their effectiveness. And or three, they feel maybe just a little inappropriate on accident, but they become distracting. Higher than eye level, and it just feels a little awkward, unless you're talking about something that is far away or really big, then gesture appropriately to convey meaning. Now, if you're just starting to experiment with these gestures, it's gonna feel a little awkward to start. And as you're building intentionality, you'll need to dedicate awareness and focus to this new skill. It's going to feel inauthentic. That's okay. But it's not inauthentic. It's just new. The more you practice working gestures into your presentation prep, your opening, closing, and especially voir dire when you're in this conversational exchange with potential jurors, the more natural it becomes. You'll figure out soon enough what moments ask for stillness and which moments ask for movement. And your voice and body will begin to sync up in a way that draws people in. And for the record, let me just add in, this isn't a stylistic preference here. There's science to consider too. Movement increases engagement, and engagement supports memory. Your physical energy helps jurors stay mentally active. This is especially important in long trials or really dense arguments. Movement tells the brain something's happening, stay with this. And when your hands are in sync with your voice, the whole experience becomes more immersive and more memorable. So start noticing. When you speak, what are your hands doing? Are they frozen at your sides? Are they fidgeting with a pen or your ring? Are they crossing or uncrossing every few seconds? Are they in your pockets? Or are they working in service of your message? You don't need to choreograph this. You shouldn't choreograph this, but you do want to be intentional because you don't just communicate with your voice. You communicate with your whole body. So be generous with that. Let your hands help you talk. Now, if this episode gave you something to think about, would you share it with a colleague? And again, leave a quick review. It helps other attorneys find the show and rethink how they use their voice and their body to lead. Until next week, keep fostering your voice. Thanks for pulling up a seat with me today and for being part of the Foster fam. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, go ahead and leave a review or a comment so I can give you a shout out on a future episode. During the week, you can find me on Instagram at Foster Voice Studio, where I'm dropping little nuggets of vocal technique and leadership wisdom. You can also join my mailing list by visiting fostervoicestudio.com or by clicking the link in the show notes. I'll send a weekly vocal tip every Tuesday directly to your inbox. Until then, keep fostering your voice.